Highway hypnosis is a driving condition that can result from a. Staring at the roadway for long periods of time. b. Frequent rest stops. c. Too much sleep the night before your trip. d. Short trips on expressways. a. Staring at the roadway for long periods of time. Highway hypnosis happens when you stare straight ahead at the roadway for long periods of time and stop actively scanning ahead, behind, and around your vehicle. This can lead you to zone out, making you very likely to crash into traffic slowing or stopping ahead of you. You are driving when it starts to sleet or snow. You should a. Keep your windshield and mirrors clear. b. Allow additional distance between your vehicle and the vehicles that you are following. c. Approach all vehicles with caution. d. All of the above. d. All of the above. In snowy weather, keep your windshield and mirrors clear. Increase your following distance when driving in wet and cold weather because a slippery road surface will increase the distance needed for your vehicle to stop. The effect that alcohol has on your reflexes and judgment. A. Is less pronounced when consuming beer instead of wine. B. Is less pronounced when consuming wine instead of beer. C. Is most pronounced when consuming hard ciders and mixed drinks. D. Depends on the amount of alcohol in your bloodstream. D. Depends on the amount of alcohol in your bloodstream. Consuming any type of alcohol can have negative effects on your reflexes and judgment. It does not matter which type of alcohol is consumed, only how much alcohol has entered a person's bloodstream. Fill in the blank. Limit your concentration, perception, judgment, and memory. A. Only a blood alcohol level greater than the legal limit can. B. Alcohol does not. C. Even the smallest amount of alcohol can. D. Only a blood alcohol level greater than 0.05% can. C. Even the smallest amount of alcohol can. Even the smallest amount of alcohol will reduce your concentration, perception, judgment and memory, and your driving skills will suffer. No one can drink and drive safely.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
This road sign means A. Do not enter. B. No parking. C. No U-turn. D. No left turn. C. No U-turn. These signs indicate that U-turns are prohibited in the location where it is posted. Where should you never make a U-turn? A. At the crest of a hill. B. Near a curve. C. Where drivers cannot see you for 500 feet in both directions. D. Any of the above. D. Any of the above. Do not make a U-turn at the crest of a hill, near a curve, or any place where you or other drivers cannot see 500 feet away. You should only make a U-turn when it is safe to do so. This sign means A. Don't drink if you are going to drive. B. Slippery when wet. C. Road curves ahead. D. You are approaching a hill. B. Slippery when wet. This sign warns that the road is slippery when wet. This sign means A. Railroad crossing. B. One-way traffic. C. Limited parking. D. Playground ahead. A. Railroad crossing. Circular traffic signs indicate upcoming railroad crossings. This sign tells drivers that they are approaching a railroad crossing and should be looking for signs of an oncoming train. As alcohol builds up in your blood, it A. slows down your reactions. B. makes you feel less confident. C. begins to metabolize itself more quickly. D. decreases the number of driving errors. A. slows down your reactions. As alcohol builds up in your system, it will slow your reactions, make you feel more confident, and cause you to make more errors. When driving to an unfamiliar area, you A. should depend on road signs to find your way. B. should plan your trip in advance. C. only have to know generally where your destination is. D. should always choose the most direct route. B. should plan your trip in advance. When driving to an unfamiliar area, plan your trip in advance. Don't start with only a hazy idea of where you are going. If your destination is in an unfamiliar area, check the location on a map before you start to drive. To check your blind spot before changing lanes. A. look into the left side mirror. B. look into the right side mirror. C. look into the rearview mirror. D. look over your shoulder in the direction you plan to move. D. look over your shoulder in the direction you plan to move. To check your blind spot before changing lanes, you should look over your shoulder in the direction that you plan to move. You need to use extra caution when driving near a pedestrian using a white cane because A. he or she is deaf. B. he or she is a police officer. C. he or she is blind. D. he or she has poor balance. C. he or she is blind. When driving near a blind pedestrian who is carrying a white cane or walking with a guide dog, you must slow down, yield the right of way, and then proceed with caution. Be prepared to stop your vehicle in order to prevent injury or danger to the pedestrian. Unless otherwise posted, the speed limit in thickly settled areas and business districts is A. 10 miles per hour. B. 20 miles per hour. C. 30 miles per hour. D. 50 miles per hour. C. 30 miles per hour. Unless posted otherwise, your speed is not reasonable and proper if you drive at speeds faster than 30 miles per hour in thickly settled areas or business districts. Drivers should use extra caution when driving in an area with an increased likelihood of pedestrians entering traffic. When is it illegal to drive below the speed limit? A. when driving slowly disrupts the normal flow of traffic. B. when in heavy traffic in a construction zone. C. only when driving in rural areas. D. when driving under adverse weather conditions. A. when driving slowly disrupts the normal flow of traffic. It is illegal to drive so slowly that you disrupt the normal flow of traffic. You may receive a citation for driving too slowly. A speed limit is A. the maximum or minimum legal speed you can travel on a road under dangerous conditions. B. the maximum or minimum legal speed you can travel on a road under ideal conditions. C. the suggested speed to travel on a road under ideal conditions. D. none of the above. B. The maximum or minimum legal speed you can travel on a road under ideal conditions. A speed limit is the maximum or minimum legal speed you can travel on a road under ideal conditions. You may drive more slowly than the posted speed, but it is illegal to drive any faster. You must drive more slowly where signs indicate a school zone or work zone speed limit. If conditions such as road construction or bad weather make the posted speed unsafe, drive under the speed limit. Certain highway signs contain information about hazardous conditions. Such signs are known as A. Regulatory signs, B. Warning signs, C. Information signs, D. Guide signs. B. Warning signs. Warning signs advise drivers of potentially hazardous conditions. For your own safety, obey warning signs. Disregarding the information provided by a warning sign may result in an accident due to your negligence. A solid white line down the center of a two-lane road indicates A. Lanes are moving in opposite directions and drivers are not permitted to pass. B. Lanes are moving in opposite directions and drivers are permitted to pass when it is safe to do so. C. Lanes are moving in the same direction and drivers are not permitted to pass. D. Lanes are moving in the same direction and drivers are permitted to pass when it is safe to do so. C. Lanes are moving in the same direction and drivers are not permitted to pass. White lines are used to separate traffic moving in the same direction. Solid lines indicate that drivers are not permitted to pass. When you see this sign, you must A. Stop completely and check for pedestrians and cross traffic. B. Slow down without coming to a complete stop. C. Stop completely and wait for a green light. D. Slow down and check for traffic. A. Stop completely and check for pedestrians and cross traffic. Any 8-sided sign is a stop sign. At an intersection with a stop sign, you must stop completely and check for pedestrians and cross traffic in the intersection. Wait for the intersection to clear before proceeding. When driving on roads that may be slippery. A. Always drive at the maximum speed limit. B. Use cruise control to maintain a steady speed. C. Reduce your following distance. D. Do not make any sudden changes in speed or direction. D. Do not make any sudden changes in speed or direction. You should avoid making any sudden changes in speed or direction when driving on a slippery surface. Reduce your speed on slippery roads and do not use cruise control. At a four-way stop. A. The driver to arrive first has the right of way. B. The driver to arrive last has the right of way. C. One driver should continue driving without stopping. D. One driver should wave the other drivers ahead. A. The driver to arrive first has the right of way. At four-way stops, traffic from all four directions must stop. The first vehicle to reach the intersection should move forward first. If two vehicles reach the intersection at the same time, the driver on the left yields to the driver on the right. When you hear the siren or see the flashing lights of an approaching emergency vehicle, you must A. Slow down until it passes you. B. Drive to the right side of the road and stop. C. Motion for the emergency vehicle to pass you. D. Merge into the right lane and continue driving. B. Drive to the right side of the road and stop. Yield the right-of-way to any approaching emergency vehicle that is using its flashing lights or siren, regardless of its direction of travel. You must immediately drive to the right side of the road and stop until the emergency vehicle has passed. If you are within an intersection, pass through the intersection before coming to a stop on the right side of the road. If you leave your vehicle unattended, you must A. Turn off the engine. B. Lock the ignition and remove the key. C. Set the parking brake. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. When you leave your vehicle unattended, you must stop the engine, lock the ignition, remove the key from the ignition, and set the parking brake. Which is the most common cause of traffic crashes? A. New drivers. B. Human error. C. Bad weather. D. Bad roads. Green pavement indicates A. Emergency lanes. B. A road-sharing conflict. C. HOV lanes. D. An eco-friendly area. B. A road-sharing conflict. Green pavement is used in areas where there could be road-sharing conflicts between motor vehicles and bicycles. You should pay close attention and look for bicyclists before crossing green pavement. At a red light, you should not stop on green pavement. Do not pass. A. On a hill or curve. B. When school bus lights are flashing. C. When approaching an intersection. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. You should never pass if there is an oncoming vehicle in the passing lane, if your view is blocked by a curve or hill, at an intersection, before or on a railroad crossing or bridge, or in any other no-passing zone. Unless you are on the opposite side of a multi-lane roadway with a median or shared center turn lane, you may not pass a stopped school bus that has its flashing red lights activated.